This is the MB Sturgis automatic changeover regulator and MB Sturgis pigtail. We will do some performance testing on this to show the value this regulator has out in the field. Our test setup consists of one valve emulating a tank valve, a second valve emulating a second tank valve like dual cylinders on an RV, a travel trailer, or a fifth wheel. We've got a flow meter which measures the flow of gas up to 200 SCFH. 200 SCFH is equivalent to about 500,000 BTUs of propane. And a manometer showing the inches of water column. Inches of water is important because if the system pressure drops under 8.5 inches, the appliances will not function properly. They will actually burn out under 8 inches. So you've always got to maintain at least 8 inches of water column pressure. So in each cylinder we've got a pressure gauge. They're both currently set at 100 pounds of pressure. And the first test we're going to do is a capacity test showing how much capacity this regulator actually has. We'll start on the right side, and as we're getting greater capacity or greater flow, we've got to maintain, the flow has to maintain the 8.5 inches. You'll see this needle drop some as the flow goes higher, but it can never go under 8.5. The system gets up to 195,000 BTUs and goes into bypass on the right side. On the left side, we've just switched it over to the left side. We'll start the flow again. Same on the left, system shuts down at 195,000 SCFH. That's important to us because we've got to shut down prior to 200 SCFH, because if we don't, the certification on the Type 1 green knob per ANSI Z2181 standard would not be sufficient. In the standard, it calls it the system going to bypass and shut down prior to 200 SCFH. We have reached that limit as closely as we possibly can without going over 200. Most regulators in the marketplace will not have capacity over 180 SCFH, many lower than that. The next feature I want to show you in this MB Sturgis regulator is the indicator. The indicator starts to drop from green to red around 28 pounds of pressure, 28 psi in the tank. Finishes dropping, turns completely red around 18. This gives the RV user a little bit more of a gauge or a warning as to the gas in the cylinder is getting low. So the way we do that is we'll get the flow to about 50 SCFH. We're on the left side, and we'll drop the tank pressure to 30. And at 30 you see we're still green. At 20 you'll see some red. At 25 you'll see a little bit more green. We'll drop down to 20. It's almost completely red at 20, and then goes completely red at about 18. So the gauge doesn't just go from green to red immediately. It'll give you some warning and some type of a gauge factor. The last test I'd like to show is what we call our cold weather test. It's when one tank is empty and the other tank is very cold, because it is 2 degrees on the lake in Minnesota. So we've got to continue to flow at 11.5 inches or 8.5 inches of water column at very low pressures. So we'll go to 10 pounds, and we're still at 11.5 inches. And we'll go down to literally 1 pound of pressure in the cylinder, and we're still maintaining the pressure in the system and flowing at 40 SCFH. So those three really make this regulator a powerful regulator. The capacity going up to 195 SCFH prior to shutdown, the tank gauge starting to drop at 28 pounds and going completely red at 18 pounds, and the ability for the regulator to continue to draw from the tank when the pressure of the tank is very low, which you would see in extreme cold conditions and elevations that are extremely high.